What's good? What's good? What's good? You are tuning in Apartment 5B, hosted by your man Kill. I got my squad with me in effect today. Mixed Messiah. What's going on, good brother?
Not a whole lot, brother. Just glad to be here. How's everybody?
Good, man.
Everything good. Everything good. Neltron out the NO. What's going on, good brother?
Just happy to be here, man. It's gonna be
Love
a
that
fun
Cool
episode.
Gang records you got behind you right there, man.
Oh,
One of
yeah.
my faves right there, no
Woo.
doubt.
Monster.
Greg Boogie out of Queens. What's good, baby?
Here and living.
Yes, sir. That's all you can ask for.
Mhm.
This
Yes,
dude
sir.
Vern out of ATL just had to put on an Outcast jersey,
Yeah.
sipping wine. You know what I mean? This dude
Big
looks
time.
this dude looking like you about to go to the beach or something, man. Like you good
I
to
am
go,
next
man.
week. Next week I am. I can't wait, bro. I got to get the heck out of here, man.
Oh, bro, I feel you. We going to Cancun at the end of June, and man, I'm counting that shit down.
Yeah,
like we
man.
going, like we going to Mars or something. Man. So, Jay Ben, bro, what's good, baby?
What's good, man? Blessed. Happy to be here.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. You already know me. Let's jump right into it. Yo, today, lighthearted episode. We are just talking about your top 5 favorite hip hop logos, whether that be a group, a label, whatever. Now, here's the wild part. The reason I came up with the show, I was talking to one of my young boys, and I was talking to him about logos. He was like, "What's a logo?" And I'm like, "Nigga, a logo. I mean, it's the logo." You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know. McDonald's, the M, the Burger King, like it's a logo. He was like, "But what that got to do with hip hop?" And it didn't really hit me that so many of the logos that we saw were from, whether it be videos or whether it be buying the actual album and actually feeling it. I was like, yo, like Griselda's logo, because he's a big Griselda head. He was like, what's Griselda's logo? And I'm like, this nigga has never even brought a Griselda album to even see that the back of it has the, you know, I'm
Yeah.
like, it's got
Yeah.
the scales or whatever, or the Fashion Rebel joint. But he was like, bro, I don't buy music, so I don't. So it's just bugged to me that it's like, yo, there's gonna be a whole generation of people who don't even understand what a logo is, what it represented, what it stood for. So, you know, we're just gonna be chopping up about that, and then at the same time, you know, hoping to school the youth, you know, school the young black youth, all colored youth, on just a logo and everything like that. And he was even asking me, he was like, yo, well, why is that so important? I said, well, you got to understand that it's kind of the art aspect of hip hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you also, I also look at it like this. Like, I don't know how it is in other cities, and this is why I love doing this show with so many people, you know, from different places. Me and Rella from Philly, Vern is from ATL, Mix and Eltron from NO, Greg Boogie's out of Queens, so he's definitely gonna know about this probably more than any of us. But you know, if you, I'm 47, so at 80 and 84, I'm 10, and Beach Street comes out, and I fall in love with graffiti. That's all I had to see was Ramo. Graffiti. Of course, in Philly, we had graffiti, but me and Rella from uptown. So you really don't have trains uptown. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially if you go to
Right.
school. I didn't start really catching trains till 7th, 8th grade. You know what I mean? And by that
Right.
time, graffiti had on trains was kind of not played out, but the city had just gotten rid of that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I know Greg can speak to Graph in New York and
hell
everything
yeah.
like that. But even if you're 4 years younger than me, if you don't fall in love with hip hop till 88, you're 43, but you may not really understand the importance of an all white A train. Like, you know, if I
Right.
say, yo, that's a white A train, if your eyes don't perk up, I'm like, well, you probably never saw B Street then, because you
Yeah.
know what an all white A train
Yeah.
meant.
Yeah.
Right.
So again, you know, if even people who are in their 40s may not really understand the oomph of what graffiti was, you know what I mean, and like what it meant, like to hip hop and everything like that. So to me, the logo was just an extension of your tag. Like as a graph artist, you had a tag and you were known for. You would see a train and be like, oh, that's you know Zaki 183 tag, or that's such and such tag like that. So the logo was initially just a keeping the, in my opinion, keeping the graph going, and you had a tag as an artist. So as soon as somebody saw your tag, it's like, boom, you know, I know it's you. Greg, speak a little bit just about Graph and just being able to have to catch the train every day and being able to see that. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, where I grew up in Queens, there was a lot of world famous graffiti artists. And before we even go further, I want to shout out my cousin Shaft, who passed away earlier this year. He was a big time graffiti artist. His crew was NOC, Nation of Creation, and he had his own, you know, offshoot called NCA, Nasty Criminal Artists. You know, that was the hood. basically some of the most famous writers out of Queens came from my side, and the 7 Train was just like, you know, that 8 Train or the 6 Train in the Bronx. Like everybody was trying to hit that. Back in them days, they were all white 7 Train, and then it was the Redbirds, the red ones, like, you know, the ones you see by you know. You probably see them when you look at like a New York Mets commercial or something, right? Or some kind of advertisement. That's the Yard, actually. So you know, even now to this day, like I have friends that they still go by their tag, and we're 50 years old up. You know what I'm saying? So when it's interesting what Kill said, because I never really thought about it, I just lived it, you know. But you know, those logos were really that extension, that artwork extension, because what happened with the graph world, it was either real street and it was like still wild beef going on over graph, or that being a part of it, you know what I'm saying? But the other half is that those ill graffiti artists went the whole art route, you know what I mean, like high-end art route. So it that's how it kind of phased into like 2 different worlds that maybe the people that were into the music weren't gonna flow with. You feel me?
Right.
So the extension became via these logos that were using a lot of the elements of graffiti, even if it wasn't like graffiti style letter, but the influences, like the comic book, you know, like the Japanese anime and you know, the Frazetta artwork, like just even expanding on those themes. You got to see some of that with the logos, and it was really a beautiful thing. And again, I know I'm rambling, but the street teams back in the early 90s, right? Those guys really kept it going, because then it took another level. It was another layer to it now. Now you're seeing the stickers everywhere.
Funny you got talking about that, because this is what I love about God. It just comes together, because I was going to say, a lot of people may not know the street teams, and even with that, like this is my chair from college, and it's like, you know, when I went to college in '92, this chair was empty, you know, and I mean, this is 5 and 6 layers of stickers on top of stickers, but like you said, you would go and see, you know, like it's crazy. It's an old Beat Nuts joint right here. You would kind of see the Beat Nuts under something else, and there's somebody under there. There's a
That's a piece of art right there. That's a piece of pop art that
you
you're
got the
holding in your
Method
hand
Man
right
joint right there.
Yeah,
like,
you got Arrested Development on that, don't you?
Bro, I haven't even really looked at this chair in years.
Yeah, it's on the seat. I think I thought I saw that AD. Yeah.
Right. So you know what I mean? Like this is what you would see like in the 90s. Like Greg was saying, you would go out and the street teams would just bomb everything.
Man.
You know what I mean? And I mean, like, and then me being at 889, of course, and when they would send vinyl to us, the promotional items was the stickers. You know what I mean? So you'd have stickers everywhere. So you know, that was my thing. So we're gonna be talking about logos, why they're so important. I'm gonna set us off tonight. Yo, my number one. And these aren't really in any order. I just know my number one is definitely Public Enemy's.
Yeah, man.
Public Enemy's infamous joint. I mean, it's on my bag. It's on my book bag to this day. Like I had to get the button, you know, with the you know, the black man and the crosshair. So it's like even to this day at 47, I still got a backpack, and I still had to get that PE. Like if there's nothing else, you got to get that. I mean. Like, God, it's so much. Like, I can remember going to one of the concerts probably back in '88, and I mean, the logo would just come on the screen, and the whole stadium would go crazy. That's what a logo meant. Like, the logo meant this is what's coming. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, yo, this is what's coming. And I mean, the PE logo was just so iconic, and a lot of people may not know that Chuck drew that based off of E Love, who was LL's guy who would own LL's radio. Right. It was that pose, and he took that.
Oh wow.
So that's really based off of E Love
crazy,
silhouette, and then he just put them in, you know, into the crosshairs which is Queens, you know, which is just in that. To me, I mean, we're gonna talk about a lot of logos, but that one right there for me is just still to this day probably the most iconic, and it may even mean more now than ever that the
Yeah.
black man is still
Still.
in the crosshairs,
Yeah.
whether it be black on black crime, whether it's white on black crime, whether it's police crime. Like we're still caught in that crosshair every day we walk out our house. That's our picture in the crosshair. So it's crazy that Chuck had this. I think he drew it in '86. You know, and it's 2021. You know what I mean? So a logo from 1986 is just as, if not even more relevant now in 2021. So that's the first joint I got. Rel, what you got for one of your favorite logos, brother?
Mine was the Run DMC logo.
Hey,
That's that logo is just, to me, that logo is just synonymous with just my entrance in the hip hop as a kid. You know what I'm saying? What I saw as the gold standard of hip hop coming up as a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like when they came out, I was, really young, but I was trying to find a picture. I got my school picture at school. I got the Run DMC sweatshirt on, you know what I'm saying, with the logo on it. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to find it, but yeah, I mean that's just classic. Like one of those, like it's just a landmark logo in hip hop, man. So that's why I picked that one. And I wanted to say something about B Street. When that came out, '84, I was a baby, but when I got older and saw it, like the thing about it is, I kind of was like Kill, and like the dude Spit was like the first villain to me. Like I hated, he was. I hated that dude. You know what I'm saying? So that was real impactful. But yeah, my first one is the Run DMC logo.
And it's funny, I had that too because it spawned off in so many other things. Because you got Mos Def, his first logo was on the Run DMC joint. So and I've seen so many other things spawn off of that Run DMC logo. So definitely a dope one. Mix, what you got for yours, good brother?
Mine actually is Lynch Mob Records.
Yeah, Mike. Yes,
that one was fire.
And the reason being is because no matter what we go through or what we don't go through, they always portray us as being in an uprising. You know, like the black man that's always angry, can't be controlled, and just unruly in every facet of life. And it brings back an old memory of mine. It was my first time getting backstage at a major tour. And the person that got me backstage was the late Trouble T-Roy.
Wow.
And I had to guide my way through backstage, not knowing, how to get to where I was trying to get to. And I ended up stepping on JD from the Lynch Mob's toe. And then he stepped to me and I stepped to him, and I look up, all I saw was the logos everywhere. They were deep, like in every direction. They just looked at me. All I saw was the lokes and the logos. And I just backed up. I was like, my bad.
Yeah, no doubt. The Lynch Mob joint is crazy too. The Lynch Mob joint is definitely
powerful.
Definitely dope. That's dope. Vern, what you got, good brother?
So y'all took DMC and the one you said, Kill. So I'm gonna go. I ain't no fan of this cat necessarily, but that So Def logo with the Afro Man. Atlanta was popping, man. And when you would come in from the airport going up 75, 85 by the Brave Stadium, have a big billboard saying "Welcome to Atlanta," and you got the Afro dude there, man. So I'm gonna shout So Def out on that one.
Yo, I ain't mad at that, bro. Like I'm with you. I don't rock with the label, but
yeah.
I want to say I saw a video in JD's studio. He had like the figure, like the Afro.
He did.
I would cop that. Like I would cop that. Like I don't even fuck with your music, but I would definitely cop that figure. Neltron, what you got for yours?
I didn't know how you want to do it. We're just gonna be picking different logos that we like.
Yeah, okay. Whatever one you got, good brother.
I've always been a fan of the hieroglyphics symbol. The hieroglyphics logo. I mean, when I saw that, when I heard, even Souls of Mischief logo is nice, but the hieroglyphics, I think Dell drew that one too.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing, because that's why I never knew what it was. Was it supposed to be a face? Was it supposed to be three eyes?
Three eyes.
Third eye.
The third eye.
Third eye vision.
Yeah, man. If you played a drinking game in the 90s, every time you heard somebody say third eye, you'd be alcohol poisoned.
That joint, that joint again, synonymous, man. Like when you see that symbol, you know it's Hyro. Like there's no misconception. Like even if we was playing a game or something, like and you just throwing the logos up, you know what I mean? Again, that's just one that is just synonymous. You don't even think nothing else. That's Hyro right there. So definitely a dope pick. Greg, Book, what you got?
I got EPMD.
Definitely.
And I'm gonna tell you why.
Nice.
So I mean, this might just show my age, but so the year was 87, and when they first dropped, I was working in Bally's, the shoe company. Bally shoes.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
In New Rochelle, right?
All right.
And I'm hanging out. One of the co-workers was good friends with Grand Poobah, Doctor Who, Shabazz. So it's one of my first jobs. I'm finally going out to clubs and having money and stuff, like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that just became the soundtrack, and they were dope. You know, their whole style. I like their whole style. We even dress similar, like, so it was just like I had an affinity for them and that logo since that moment.
Yeah. The crazy thing, you remember when EPMD, when their first 12-inch, and it was EPEE?
Yeah.
Instead of it just being EPMD, they spelled the E, right. They spelled everything out.
Just like EZLP was the same way.
Right. I mean, bro, like there's so much that's iconic about that logo, man, and just EPMD. We gotta do a salute show to EPMD. We
definitely.
They don't
gotta
get
make
enough credit.
We gotta make that
Definitely
happen.
don't get credit.
And one of the things that I realized, me and Penny was chopping it up one time, and I think so many of those 8 albums that came out in 88 don't get the classic recognition they deserve because there were so many 12 inches that led up to it. So by the time you got to the album, you had heard usually 60 to 70% of the album because you were getting, before you even got the album, you got Strictly Business, you got to chill, you're a customer, it's my thing. You know, you may have got 5 joints before you even got the album. So when you get the album, you really only getting Jane, Let the Funk Flow, you know.
Right.
So I think that's why maybe so many people don't think about those albums as much. But I mean, either way you fold it, they're classics because they were incredible. And then back in those days, a 12-inch was almost just as important as an album. You could live off a 12-inch. Yeah, you could live off a 12-inch A side and a B side for damn near a year.
For months.
You know what I mean?
That was the
and for
prove
people
yourself
watching
era.
that, would you say?
That was the prove yourself era.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I was gonna say. For a lot of people watch who may not understand, at the time, record labels weren't signing people to whole deals. They would just sign you to a single deal. We're gonna do one single deal, see what it do. All right, we'll sign you to another one, see what that. Okay, that did good. All right, now we'll do an album deal. So this wasn't when they were just throwing away, just signing everybody. This wasn't Nelly. This wasn't 95 when you could just come in with your crew and get record deals for just everybody. Like this was show and prove, like Mick said. So you know. That's definitely crazy. Another joint I had, because I'm gonna try to keep it if somebody says something. I'm shocked nobody said this one. I thought this was gonna be the first one off the board. I'm gonna go with the Woo, with the W.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
Just again, synonymous. And I loved how RZA just would freak it different ways, turn it into an M for Meth,
G,
flip into a G for Jizza. You know, just again, you know, I never knew if this was true, but back in like 95, 96, when I was at the radio station, I don't even know if this is true, but the shit sounded incredible to me. I was like, yo, that's dope as hell. They was doing like a release for one of the Woo albums or something, but they didn't tell nobody where it was, and they just put up like a bat signal, like a Woo signal into the sky, and people just had to try to find a way to get there. I'm sure that shit ain't true because, like, you know, as a kid, I used to, as a kid, I don't know if you could do that shit, but it sounded dope. Like that would have been dope. Like, yo, the record release party, we ain't telling nobody. You just gotta look at the sky and find that shit. Because I remember being a little shorty and getting mad at my pop. I see a rainbow. And I'm like, yo, can we see if there's any gold at the end of the rainbow? Nigga, shut up. Ain't no gold. You know what I mean? And I'm like, nah, but I want to go. So maybe a couple of years ago, we drive, I see a rainbow. I'm like, yo, fuck that. I'm finding the fucking end of this rainbow. I'm like, you can't. Like, it's impossible. Like, see, Google this. She like, nigga, we've been driving for an hour. You can't find the rainbow. There's no gold. Yeah, but it was just like still a childhood dream. But I just thought that was so dope that you could just like a bat signal, like literally put up the Woo signal in the air and just everybody just when you see that again, if you at a show and you don't know who's coming on next and that Woo symbol go up, You know, you need to lose your mind because shit about to get crazy. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. Greg, what's another joint you got up, bro?
Gang Starr.
The Pain and the Stars.
Fire.
You know what I'm saying? Like I used to see those guys out a lot, like especially in the beginning of their career. I actually bought a demo tape to their management. It was probably like 87 or 88, you know, and seeing, you know, Primo and them, you know, hanging out. And it's so like I always felt like another affinity with these guys because you would see them at every club, like on the come up before the record came out, the first joint came out. So, you know, that logo to me is it's like an era in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. That joint is so crazy. I mean, just speak for a minute on Gang Starr. Just favorite album. Just while we hear favorite Gang Starr album.
Oh God, I love them all. But really, I feel like I got a special place for Hard to Earn.
Yeah.
It just felt like at that part of my life. I guess that dropped in what 92, right?
Yep, 92.
92
like
wintertime about, right?
I want to say it was like probably like September, October, because I just started Morgan, and I remember me and my people went to go grab it. But shit,
yeah. So that was the beginning of my senior year in college,
right?
Oh, wow.
And so that and the Chronic became basically
Yeah,
the two albums I was really fucking with. You know? But them, you know, because I would see Guru, rest in peace, like at clubs. You know what I'm saying? Like we would be walking the same way. We had mutual friends. So, you know, they're just special. I mean, they're another group, another duo that doesn't get nowhere near the respect or the credit that they deserve. Right. You know what I'm saying? And by us. Right. I feel like others get them more than we do.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes sense, you know?
Yeah, no doubt. Gang Starr, something special. I mean, just thinking about all these groups, I'm just like marking down on the calendar, like when we got to do these salute shows, because you know, either which way is crazy. Now, Tron, what you got up next for yours, good brother?
I always dug for the Soul Survive Pete Rock's that Afro. Yeah. Y'all was talking about the Afro, but that one is another dope one where you got the pick and you just got the dude on there. So that's one of mine too. And that album is still, I still bump that out.
Soul Survivor, man. I mean, we just shouted that out on the Loud show, man. But for me, that's my favorite producer album. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much shit on Soul Survivor. And I mean, for me, one of the most, even from a production aspect, to me, the dopest thing about that album was that it just like showed a whole nother side of Pete. You know what I mean? Because off of Main Ingredient and Mecca, you know, my not a knock, but my thing with Pete was like, all right, you got them smooth beats, you know, you got the horns, you got all that, but nigga, you ain't making it. I was always more the like rah hip hop shit. So I'm more like, because you got Pete and Primo. I mean, you got Pete and CL, and you got Primo and Google. You know, kind of like same thing, duo, dope producer, dope MC, whatever. But to me, Pete and them was more smooth, while Gang Starr was more rugged. You know what I mean? So I always like the ruggedness. So my thing was always, well, can Pete make some shit for the Wu? You know, and when I heard Soul Survivor, I was like, okay, you can. Okay, you know, like touche. Like, okay, like, you know. Right. So I mean that album in itself, and I mean being able to bring in so many different people. I mean, I think it's a song with like Common, Sticky Fingers, and I get them all mixed up, but like this dude is just taking random rappers and making them sound good together. You know what I mean? So
MC8 from the West Coast.
Yeah. You got the joint with loose ends.
Right.
You just
don't forget.
I mean, that whole album is just
like in between the songs.
Pete and Primo, them interludes. This is where I want to talk to them niggas about. They would piss me off because they do these interludes that should be songs. You know what I mean? It's like, dog, what? Come on, like, stop it. Like, there's a beat like the Group Homes. Yeah, it's a beat on Group Homes album during the interlude of the Dice Game that is just hard as hell. And it's just like, yo, y'all don't got nobody rhyming over this. Like, but like you said, it's just to tease you. It's just to mess with our heads. Yeah. Vern, what's another joint you got?
The Crown with the Outcast.
Yes.
It looked like a Cadillac emblem that people used to rip off the cars, you know, back in our time. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah. I got the post up on my wall, but I don't feel like getting up. But yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Nah, it's funny because I was gonna ask y'all. That's one of mine. I was like, was it supposed to be a Cadillac logo? That's what I always thought it was.
That's what it looked like to me. And I know the first two cars they got
was Cadillacs.
Okay, well, one got a Lexus GS, and then the other one had the Cadillac. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's funny, Vernon, for people watching who may not know, like back in the 80s, probably 85, 86, like the Beastie Boys was big on wearing like a Volkswagen thing around, around his neck. Mike D used to wear that. So and this is what I love because I had no idea y'all was doing it in the ATL too.
Yeah,
like,
man.
We would just be and what you would do is you have to pull the emblem up off the car, and it's like a thick rubber band that was holding it in place, and you'd have to cut it. Yo, we just fucking up everybody's car.
Yeah.
And this is why this is a prime example when people try to mess with me with Kill. Stop being that old man, get off my lawn. I'm like, no, nigga, you need niggas to say get off your lawn because you probably ain't doing the right shit. I'm running around tearing people's cars up all day. Somebody should have been like, yo, young nigga, get off that nigga car. Like, but we ain't kids. So, but we was doing that, then take it home, put a shoestring on the joint and be rocking it with a stopwatch. Like, go to school the next day like that. Mix, what's one of your next joints, brother?
Mine would be the Rhyme Syndicate. To
good
me, the Rhyme Syndicate was an extension of that original Oakland Raider swag, and then it gave guys from all shapes of life some type of unity. It felt like they were part of something. They were almost like the most diverse gang / group in hip hop.
Rhyme Syndicate, that was Ice-T's crew, right?
That was Ice-T's crew.
Yeah, Everlast was first. That was his first. When he first came out, right? Everlast on Rhyme Syndicate. Yeah, he had
Everlast. He had Bronx Style Bob. He had Nappy Cat. He had Divine Styler, DJ Aladdin, Everlast,
DJ Aladdin.
Yeah. And another one people forget. He had Lord Finesse.
Yo, you going back with Divine Styler, man. Yo.
That's crazy. Dark mentioned him today.
Word, Divine.
Mm-hmm.
All right, no doubt. Bro, what you got up?
My next one is the Naughty by Nature joint.
Classic.
With the bat, you know what I'm saying? Saying another underrated group for real. Around that time, that logo was on shirts, headbands, everything, man. That joint just fit them. You know what I'm saying? When you think of Tretch and Naughty by Nature, that's what you think of, you know what I'm saying? And that logo in white on a black shirt was back then, that was fire, man. So I'm gonna go with Naughty by Nature. And I don't know if y'all can see this, but I was looking for this, but that's me. Run DMC.
That's still. I had that Run DMC joint too, man. I had that joint too. Crazy. What's your favorite?
Hold on. Time out, man. Adidas is missing out on a bag. If they would reissue the DMC sweatshirts, remember they had the Olympic joints?
Yo, all the joints, all the Adidas joints. Man, they reissued all the joints they had before Run, and along with Run. I'm not saying that, but the joints before. Was even crazier. You know what I mean? I posted that on Twitter the other day. There was a Nike joint that it was the joint that was on the JJ Fad Supersonic album cover that they had. It was on Nike volleyball. Yeah. That was crazy. All them joints, man. That would be crazy for all of them. Rel, what's your favorite Naughty album?
Oh, woo! Man. What's the album with Uptown Anthem on it? And Uptown Anthem, everything's gonna be all right.
The ghetto.
Ghetto Bastard is the first album. Uptown Anthem was on the Juice soundtrack, so they may have put that on the next one, 1943.
Hold on,
but mine is easily the first joint with Yoke the Joker and everything's gonna be all right. Tretch is just
was vicious.
And he was everything gonna be all right. Like he was in his bag on that one, man. If you ain't feel that one, man, I don't know what to say to you, man. I don't know what to say to you. So yeah.
And the funny part is he's in his bag the whole album, but then at the end of the day, the most prolific drum that he kicks is the joint where he at the end where he just talking. Like if you ain't ever been to the ghetto,
don't ever come to the ghetto.
Together, like that may be the craziest line, and it was a radio song, and he's spitting. You know what I mean? Like
I
So-
feel like Pac got his whole style from Tretch. Like, I feel like he got a lot of that, and I'm not even
Cadence,
a lot, a lot,
Cadence.
a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
I
I
never thought
mean,
about that.
for real.
So apparently that wasn't their first album. Officially.
I mean, yeah, the first album was under the new style. That was their first joint when they was
and
called the new style.
Independent Leaders is the first album. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I would have to say, the one in '91, Naughty by Nature, the album. That's my favorite one.
Yeah, that's it. And the other ill thing about that, the whatchamacallit, the Naughty joint, is it was just sketched out by hand. Like Chuck was showing some how he had to sketch out the PE thing by hand because he was like, yo, there wasn't no Photoshop. There wasn't none of that shit. You know what I mean? Because I was doing t-shirts and I wanted a joint that said Fly by Nature. You know what I mean? And I couldn't find that font. Like most fonts you can look up and find. I couldn't find that font. And I had to get my man to redraw it for me, but it makes sense that it was drawn from by hand on that. Mix, what you got up next?
For my next one, I'm gonna go with this was actually like a label logo, and this would have been Criminal Records, and it was like a burglar breaking in the window, but the window was a record. It was like a 12-inch. That was Arthur Baker's
I
label.
never heard of that joint.
Oh wow,
it
yeah,
was,
Arthur Baker, yeah, okay,
Yeah, with that, put the needle to the record.
yep, mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's the one I'm gonna go with.
Wow, that's a
All right.
good one.
I gotta look that one up. I don't even know
Criminal
that.
Records.
That's a real good one. That's a throwback.
Thank you.
All right, no doubt. Vern, what you got?
So since we on the label tip, I thought about this one right before the show. Delicious Vinyl, man. I love that.
That's a fire.
That was one of mine,
That was
man.
one of mine.
mine.
That was one of mine.
Yeah,
That was
man.
fire.
Like
Yeah.
chewing on a record, Far
Yes,
Side
yes.
joint. It makes me smile when I think about it, man. Just the people that want to label everything. So yeah, Delicious Vinyl.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that at all. What's your favorite joint off of Delicious Vinyl?
Far Side. Bizarre Ride.
Which album?
Bizarre Ride. Yeah, man. That's a time capsule album. We riding around in the Grand Am trying to get on, partying and all that stuff. So yes, definitely that one.
The Grand Am.
Yeah,
right?
man.
I feel you.
With the rims, yeah. My boy had it with the bump on it. Yes, sir.
Yo, it's so funny how many cars we used to push that just you know what I
No
mean?
longer
Grand
exists.
Am. Right. You know what I mean?
Grand
Like back in the day, my man Scooby had a Bonneville. Like I don't
We always
Monte Carlo.
Hey, Kill, we always in Bonnie's back in the day.
right.
We always in a Bonnie, man. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
The Bonneville, man. Crazy. Now, Tron, what you got?
I went with Diggable Planets. The way
That's a good
if you look it up, I think it's on the back of their Blowout Comb album, which is my favorite Diggable Planets album. The first Diggable Planets was dope, but that second one, yeah, Ish showed his ass as far as production. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Diggable Planets logo.
All right, dope. Why you think Diggable didn't last?
I don't know. Maybe they was too artsy. I don't know if it was in because I saw the Unsung, but I forgot why they disbanded. But I just heard they're working on a new album.
Yeah, Mecca was on Facebook like 2 days ago talking about something they're about to do.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
For me, I thought it was just like they got that jazz tag so hard, and by the time 94, 95 came, like all that shit was out the window. You know what I mean? Like to me, if the Roots come out, if Illadelph sounded like Do You Want More, I don't think we talking about the Roots no more. You know what I mean? Because you kind of you saw how like you got in that jazz bag, and if you wasn't able to escape that shit, then you kind of got played out. You know what I'm saying? So like Gang Starr was able to get in that bag real quick, do some jazz, and get the fuck out. Like they came back with, like Greg said, with Hard to Earn. And it was like, okay, to me, that's why I wasn't a big fan of Do You Want More at the time, because I was just like, yo, I don't want to hear no live. Like that whole tagline, like, yo, no samples, all live instruments. That actually was a turnoff for me. I was like, I don't want to hear that shit. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear no live drum. I want to hear SP12. I want to hear, something hard, which to me was probably why the Roots had to come, because Illadelph and Do You Want More are two totally different albums. It's totally different. You know what I mean? So
especially when you hear Clones. When you hear Clones, you like
right. What
Clones got like a Wu-Tang feel to it.
Yeah, like where this come from? You know what I mean?
Yo, it was funny because when I was in Philly and I was telling my man Cirque, who used to run with them, I was like, I don't really fuck with your people. He was like, yo, you gonna fuck with this new album. He was like, yo, Tariq changing the name to the Bad Lieutenant. Like, yo, they got drum machines. It don't sound nothing like No Proceed and No Mellow, my man. Not that I don't like those songs. Those songs are cool. Like, don't get it twisted. I know the words. Silent Treatment is probably one of my favorite songs ever. But just at that time of hip hop, it just didn't do nothing for me. So, but yeah, Clones was crazy. Greg, what's another joint you got, bro?
The Def Jam Records logo.
Iconic.
Yeah,
I mean, it's self-explanatory. I mean,
iconic.
You know, and another little thing. I mean, besides Russell Simmons being from Queens, Say Adams, who did a lot of the art direction, right? He used to hang with some good friends of mine in the neighborhood, like during the inception of Def Jam.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And again, he was a graffiti artist. He used to rock with my man Demo, and Demo was, basically engaged to a friend of mine, older friend of mine. So, that again, it's a piece of my life, a piece of history.
Right.
The music and the logo, like it just matched. It's that hard hip hop, that new sound that was taking it away from the the live instrumentation and the yes, y'all. It was this next shit. And it really sounded like the street. So,
yo, bro, that logo. I remember being a shorty in '84 and I would have gave a kidney for a Def Jam jacket.
Oh yeah,
like,
I always wanted a jacket.
Yeah, the burgundy, exactly. Yeah. The burgundy joints. Like, I remember seeing Tila Rock's 12-inch for "It's Yours," and seeing that logo, and it was just like it just was because the Technique 1200 was just synonymous with hip. So it just all connected. It was like, yo, the 1200 is hip hop, Def Jam is hip hop, and just the music, LL, the Beasties, Public Enemy, everything they was putting out at the time was hip hop. Yo, Greg, talk for
Hollis Crew 12.
Oh yeah, Hollis Crew. That's crazy. Greg, talk a little bit. Because to me, one of the things I spent every summer from like first grade to probably ninth grade in New York and Brooklyn because I loved hip hop so much that I felt like you guys and I know you and Roots and running the same circles. How was it being able to come? Because to me, these rappers were like superheroes to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like that's why I always fuck with Marvel Comics and Spider-Man because it was like, yo, this nigga's in Queens. Like I always felt like you could run into Spider-Man if you lived in New York. But you guys could run into an Eric B while you're in Queens. You guys could run into these were the people you ran with
in the neighborhood.
Just talk a little bit. How was that coming up? How did you view them? Like, did you view them as superheroes because you saw them down the fucking street? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of strange though. Like, I mean, there was certain ones like for me, G-Rap was always G-Rap and Eric B because like I felt like their aura was those guys had like a superhero type of aura, especially and also because the people that they surrounded themselves with.
Right.
There was some legendary street dudes like that were really respected. And I would bump into those same dudes with my guys. So it had it just intensified that. But it was nothing like LL Cool J. It was nothing to see him, on the Ave. Like if you're going shopping for sneakers, you see him there, or you see him driving by Hillcrest High School, and then at the end of the night after the club at Georgia Diner, on Queens Boulevard. You see all these guys, and I guess, since I'm around the same age as a lot of them, it was just cool. It was just I just felt like that was normal,
right?
But the Eric B's and the G-Raps and like even the Marley Marl, those guys, you gave them an extra level of respect because they pioneered it. When I would always want to see Russell in the club, Russell Simmons. And I would really just try to stand next to him and just try to peep what he was talking about, how he was moving. Like those guys were up there. But even then, like I'm telling you, I was able to stand next to him at a club, talk to him. They were approachable. It was just different.
Right.
If you were smart and you had the gift, you can go far back then.
Right. It's so crazy because being a kid, like I'm first grade, you 6, 7, and it's like, dog, I'm going to New York and I'm getting the New York subway map and I'm circling Farmers Boulevard. Like, yo, telling my aunt I want to go there, you know, and finding Delancey Street and being like, yo, Dana rapped about Delancey Street. I want to find Delancey, like going to 42nd Street. My aunt would be like, yo, where you want to eat at? Sabaros, where the Fat Boys ate.
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean? Like, we eat up here and I want to eat downstairs because that's where they, like, it literally is like, I wanted to. So to me, it's just, it would be mind blowing to me to be able to go to high school, to be like, yo, I went to high school with special ed. That nigga was in my, like, that's just mind blowing to me. And that's what so many New Yorkers had. The next joint I got up, I'm gonna go with Tribes. Just the stick figures. Nice. You know what I mean? The stick figures, like pushing things and everything like that. Again, something super simplistic, but when you go back to, you know, I left my wallet and you kind of see the video and you see the stick figures dancing and everything like that. And then if you're not even talking about the stick figure logo, you're talking about the woman logo. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's the woman on low end theory. You know what I'm saying? And everything like that. So either one of those two logos are just, you know, again, just perfect to me with Tribe and everything like that. Vern, what's another one you got?
Since you took 3 of them, I'm gonna go with a wild card. The Kanye Bear, you know, polo-ish. You know, he's preppy, and the first album I loved because I was 97, 98. I was kind of doing the adult thing, married. You know, I was back in church, so I wasn't really on hip hop like that. And I remember a coworker was like, "Man, I got an album I think you would like." He gave me that College Dropout CD, and I was like, "Yeah, you on point, bro." Because it gave me that feeling of Tribe and De La back in the golden era, you know, and it was a more humble Kanye, a more grounded Kanye. So I like that Bear, and mind you, that's like my 8th choice because you took the other.
Bro, I'm doing the same thing, bro. Because I mean, I knew these things was gonna be flying off the board. I knew that. You know what I mean? What's your favorite Kanye album?
College Dropout, unequivocally. Yeah.
Have you heard the bootleg? The original copy?
Send it to me because I think you did before, but I ain't have my computer.
I'm gonna send it to you. Yeah, if you like the retail version, oh my god, the fucking OG version.
Send me that too.
Yeah, I need that too, kid. Come on.
All right, I just send it out to everybody on the list. I send it to everybody. But you know the original, oh my god, I remember I was in Ben's Chili Bowl on U Street in DC, and some dude was in there selling bootlegs or whatever. And this is before the album came out. I'm like, yo, I definitely need that joint. And then when you hear the retail, it's just like, damn, like you literally can see like how much hip hop has this happened to, that the original version, yeah, but you know, through sampling clearance or from whatever, we just don't get that, you know, like even a Wu the boxing hand on Iron Man isn't the real boxing hand. That wasn't the original boxing hand. Nah, the real boxing hand is fucking crazy. That shit on the joint. Mix, you gonna say something?
And the first Keith Murray, when I was living in Orlando, Florida, I had the first Keith Murray, you know, before because the samples didn't clear, and it was a whole lot funkier than the one that we got.
Wow!
Yeah. Wow. For all y'all Tupac fans, if you like When I Get Free, nigga, you ain't heard the real one. My boys did it. Woo! But samples, woo!
That's like the G-Rap Live and Let Die the album.
Yeah, that whole shit he had to do all over again.
Yeah. So I mean that's a joint right there, because I mean the retail version is cool, but I don't even have a retail version on my phone or on my laptop. I got the OG version, like with it, because it was just that much dope, bro. Bro, what you got up for your next joint?
My next one is not complicated, it's simple, but I think it encapsulates the time more than any other logo, and that's the Cold Chillin'. The Cold Chillin' joint. That font, you know what I'm saying? That font, you know what I'm saying, for that time, and it just, you know, it just wraps everything up into one, you know what I'm saying? The graffiti, you know, we all used to be in class drawing in that font that the Cold Chillin' font is used. And so and that's, you know, that's just legendary stuff, man. And it's funny y'all mentioned Live and Let Die because that's actually my favorite Cold Chillin' release. Based on my age, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
and when that came out, I just remember the reason why I say I just remember that I played it so much and some of my favorite songs were on there. So I'm gonna go with the Cold Chillin'. And I'm a sneakerhead. When you mentioned the Tribe logo, I got the Tribe Vans.
Oh,
You know
wow.
what I'm saying?
Oh,
The Tribe Vans when they came out, they had a collection. And De La too, but I don't know where I put it back there somewhere. But yeah,
you got the De La
Those are
Dunks?
dope.
the De La Dunks, yes.
Yeah, the SB. Yeah.
Those are
Wow.
dope.
Those are dope. Those are dope.
Yeah,
What you gonna say, Max?
To piggyback what Rel said, I remember buying an old Cold Chillin' 12-inch when the label was black and Cold Chillin' was in pink. And instead of Kool G Rap and Polo, it was DJ Polo and Kool G Rap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I lost that one in Katrina though. I wish I wouldn't have, but it was Polo first and then G Rap second.
Which record was it?
It's a demo.
It's a demo. Okay.
And Rikers Island, I believe, was on the flip.
Okay. Yeah.
It's funny, just that whole era of the DJ coming first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because for people again watching, I gotta remember y'all. I be thinking it's just the six of us. You know what I mean? So, but the people watching, like the DJ was more important to hip hop than the MC was back in the 80s. You know, that's why you have Eric B and Rakim, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, DJ Cash Money and Marvelous. Like the DJ was the person who like, if we go back to Flash and Greg Book would know more about this, with the park jams, the DJs is what brought you out. The MC was kind of just there to keep the crowd moving, get you say ho and everything, but you wasn't coming for Kid Creole and them niggas. You was coming for Flash. You was coming for Herc. Like you wasn't coming for nothing else. And then another dope thing, and a lot of people didn't like it. I love it. Naomi watches it the way I watch Beat Street. To Get Down on Netflix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? An incredible show that helps you to understand just break beats, understanding graffiti, understanding hip hop in the early days and why it was so important. We were talking a while ago about, with graffiti, there's a love for hip hop that I think a lot of us had, that the younger generation, and this is no knock on the younger generation because it's just not like that anymore.
It's just different now.
Yeah, it's just different. So it's not a knock on them, but it's just the way we came up is different. I think Stag Selector said it. You can never love this culture as much as we do if it didn't save your life. You know what I mean?
Facts.
And I'll take it even a step forward. You can't love this culture as much as we did if you didn't put your life at risk for it. Because I put my life at risk for this culture many a day. Okay, I put my freedom at risk many a day. Because trying to get an SP 1200 that was $3,000 in 1993. Nigga, you was not working at Dollar America trying to get no SP 1200. Like we had to do things, and Graph to me was one of the things that was a testament to what you had to do. Like Young Guru talked about this once. He's like, yo, first you got to go into the store and steal the paint. So you could already just get arrested off the bat. Like nobody was going in buying paint. Nobody was going in, you were stealing the paint. So number one, you could get knocked for that. Then two, you're breaking and entering to get to a train yard. You can get knocked for that. And then you're vandalizing a train. You know what I mean? And you can either get knocked by the cops, a rival crew could come up, and jump you for your paint, or God forbid you could die or get hurt on the third rail. And you're doing all of that. And when I say this, is no, because this was the shit just to be all city, which just meant that you could be on a train that could ride through all the 5 boroughs. Or if you were in Philly, that you could see your name all throughout Philadelphia. Like there was no paycheck in it. There was nothing in it. It was like we're willing to risk all of this for your name. Like that's what it was. When Marlo says my name is my name, that's why people our age take that statement so deep, because that was your name. When you look at the writer's bench, I mean, Greg, one of the things I loved about Graph Artists was they were like superheroes. You didn't know. In the Get Down, they didn't know who Shaolin Fantastic was when they saw him. They just knew his tag. So it's almost like, oh shit, you Bruce Wayne, you're Batman. Like, oh, like that's the way Graph was. Like this was just the whole culture. Vern, I know you had something to say.
Now, so talking about risking your life. So me, Rudy, Derek, Alvin, Devon, Daryl, it's about 11 or 12 of us went to the Omni to see DMC Houdini, PE, LL burned the stage down, Jazzy Jeff. So we didn't realize that the MARTA stopped running at a certain time. So we rode the train back to East Point. We had to ride it to the airport because East Point was closed. So we got to figure out how we're going to get from the airport to College Park at like 1 a.m. We talked to one of them shuttle drivers into letting us ride, no money. So he dropped us off on Camp Creek. Now, mind you, we still like 5 miles away from home. It's like 2 a.m. It's 11 black youth in freaking College Park walking down the road just because we had to go to the Omni to see them burn down the stage, man. So that when you said risk your life, made me think of that.
Right. I mean, because that's what we used to do. We used to risk our life for this shit.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We risk freedom, whether it be freedom in jail or freedom from being on punishment for the next month because you listening to curse words or something like that. So you don't be listening to that shit in my house or whatever, and now kids don't have that because you just pop in your AirPods and you could be listening to whatever the hell you want to listen to. Definitely a different time. Mitch, what you got up?
All right, my next one was a group that I didn't really care for too much, and I still don't to this day. They wasn't my lane. And it was a Def Jam group called Crew. I thought the logo was
The Dirty 30.
You didn't fuck with Crew?
That album was fire. The Dirty 30.
Oh my god! Yeah, I love it.
I may have to revisit it.
Oh my god, I love that shit, man.
Because I like the fact
it was long as hell. It was very long, but there was some joints on that. But you're right. The Crew joint was fire.
I just remember the fact that the logo was kind of like what you go through on a daily, whether you want to or not. You got the happy side and then you got the angry side. Yeah. And I thought that, at that time, that was pretty dope.
Yeah. Crew was, Go back and revisit that, man. Like, maybe, like, it all speaks to
Chad from the Crew.
Yeah. But I fucked with them, man. I really fucked with that. What was it? Just Another Case? That was the single. That was a joint with Slick Rick on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Greg Boogie, what you got up?
De La Soul, their first logo. Partly because when they did drop, like when I first heard Plug Tuning, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, these guys are dope. Like it was just different.
Yes,
different from everything at the time. And then when I saw them, I felt the connection because their style was just slightly off. It wasn't that like that extra street, what I'm saying? It was more like a trendy, artsy, and I like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that was personally my wave. You know what I'm saying? So and then of course they got played out real quick. I'd say about a year, then everybody was a Daisy Age De La Soul evil twin. But the logo was like it still resonated. Like I can see it now, and it just brings back good memories. And it's a very simple. It's really simple, but it feels like there's depth to it.
Yeah, definitely. I love.
Hey, Kill, can you mention this? And I gotta say it. So '86, I moved from Gary to Atlanta. Everybody in Gary is from Gary. You don't have transplants.
Right.
I moved to Atlanta. Everybody's from every freaking where, man. And I remember Danielle, mother and them were from Brooklyn. My boy Troy and Sterling from Brooklyn. So they bring the Jim Com beepers and Nike Dunk sneakers and gold fronts. So we get in a mix of all that stuff. And then in Atlanta, everywhere, I guess, if you're not in New York, watching the videos was like, so like to see De La and them, China and Jet, all them dancing, man, on potholes in my lawn. It was something amazing. And so the first time I went to New York, it's like I know where everything is because of hip hop. So yeah, so it's dope. But and like Kill, you said, Greg, you were there, but for us, man, we were like foreigners getting a peep into what the epicenter of where y'all were, man. So we said De La, that made me think of it.
Oh yeah. And it was a transition time too, like that 88, 89, like every couple of years, like you notice there's a shift. So you had guys like Kane, Coogee Rap, BDP, Rakim, those were the main dudes. EPMD were on the come up, but then you had Jungle Brothers, Tribe Called Quest. You had De La coming up. And then you know, so it was like that was the next shift. You had Latifah coming up, you know, so it was just an interesting time. Like I feel like those years you had the most like variety. You had and the thing is, it wasn't just like variety, like everybody was nice.
Yes.
And the other thing too is that I feel like culturally, like, you know, as Black people in New York, which was the epicenter of culture and arts, I feel like that's when like high art, hip hop, punk, everything just, I felt like the 87 to 89 were those years that it all really came together really well. And then did whatever it did afterwards. But just being there like those years, that 3-year span was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. You know,
and I mean, you ain't even touch on your whole Queens Herbie Love Bug crew. The whole,
of course. Like,
hey, I had to play
Kwame.
Like,
that's what we got to do a tribute show on, man. The Herbie crew.
That was our next tribute show, right, bro?
Yeah, I believe so. Because man, I just love the fact, man, that you didn't have to be super thug, bro. We partied, man. We danced, man.
Yes.
We all night.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
What's up, Mix?
I like the way Herbie brought the go-go into hip hop.
Yeah.
He had a lot of go-go.
Here's a problem. Ryan Lawrence is what I've heard is the ghost producer behind a lot of that, man.
I mean, it makes sense. That's East Elmhurst. You know what I'm saying?
And the crazy thing is, Ron was at Howard at the time, so of course he's down here with that go-go. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I'll send you some links, man. But you talk about some heartbreaking stories, man. Like I don't even want to read. I don't even want to peel back the onion no more. No,
man. You don't want to know how they make the hot dog, bro. Just enjoy it.
I don't even want. Great example, bro. Great example. Like I don't even want to know what's in it. Just enjoy that ball game and call
Two kings in a cipher.
Yeah. I mean, all of that stuff is just Howard. You know what I mean? But we definitely, that is the next show. Sulu show is the Herbie Love Bug, because I always call it PG-13 hip hop. You know what I mean? Like I remember when they came home from the hospital, I'm talking 2 days old, it was like bath time every night. It was like, all right, no cursing. So her first album was The Business Going Off. You know, it was Kid and Play's 2 Hype album. It was Salt Peppers, High Cool.
Oh man,
those guys. I used to bump into Kid and Play all the time, like in the hood. My cousin Lou lived on the same block as Play in Corona, like I think it was 103rd Street and like 34th Ave. You know, they went to the same church. You know what I'm saying? That's
crazy,
and you know Herbie's Haitian, so like that's another. Like they had a restaurant called La Détente on close by, like on Astoria Boulevard, and I used to go there. I used to walk 20 minutes from my side of town to go there, and then you see Stevie Boy Wonder, and
that's more Rob Swift area.
Yeah, Rob Swift is the homie. Grew up with him.
Yeah, that's Rob Swift, Extra P. That's their whole area.
Yeah. Rob Swift, he was like 5 minutes away from me. He was on 89th
Rob
Street.
Swift, one of my best friends.
Oh yeah, that's my man.
Yeah, Dr. Butcher, all them.
Yeah, Drew. He introduced me to Dr. Butcher. Hell yeah, good people.
Yeah. So just Salt and Pepper, that whole crew is just
Kwame.
See,
Kwame was dope.
And quiet as kept, I know Light put it into it real quick. Antoinette's I Got Attitude is still
I
one
love
of the
that.
dopest hip-hop songs ever, you know. So
Remind me to tell y'all about when I saw MC Light and Antoinette go at it on stage.
Ooh.
I was there.
Here's a wild joint. I found this at a pawn shop. I was infamous for hitting up pawn shops, but it's the Herbie Machine joint.
Okay,
and I mean,
that's just like the that logo is just like the Mantronics.
Right. And this was like Herbie producer album. You know what I'm saying? It had Salt and Pepper, Pusha Remix, Antoinette, I Got an Attitude. I just always wanted it because it was I Got an Attitude was on here.
Yeah.
And then when Antoinette's album came out, I Got an Attitude wasn't on it. So it was like, okay, I gotta find something with that on. But yeah, we'll definitely go into all that stuff for that joint. Neltron, what's your joint?
I got Raucous Records as the record label.
Razor Blade.
that Black Star album, especially that part when he was like, "What'd you do last night, man?" It's like
2 whole cars.
Me
Yeah.
and Dez.
Me and Dez and
And
me
that's
and 3.
why I got
Yeah.
on the Star Wars, man. I'm like, because New Orleans, we didn't do graffiti down here, so to see that, I mean, they had a few people tagging, but it wasn't on that level. But
not
man,
even close.
Right.
Raucous Records,
And I'm glad you brought that up. For anybody out there who wants to do the knowledge on graffiti, start with Star Wars because it's the documentary.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
go into Wild Style and then go into B Street. And that those 3 things right there can help you understand what was going on at that time, and place and everything like that. Not a big fan of the group, but House of Pain. I always fuck with House of Pain's logo. It had the shamrock thing. It looked like an Irish bar or whatever like that.
Yeah.
Not that, Irish folk are that nice to black folk, but I just always fuck with the logo.
I'm not going in that bar. I'm not going in that Irish bar.
Right. But, I remember getting the House of Pain 12 inches and thinking like, yo, that's an ill logo. Like, and I mean, of course, Jump Around was the shit. And House of Pain's second album wasn't that bad. There was a Diamond D remix on there that was crazy. I forgot what the name of it was, but that was definitely the House of Pain joint was another dope joint for me. Bro, what you got for your last joint? Oh, my fault. Now I'm trying with you.
Quick little thing. When Black Star came out, I remember that was my shift from being there was 2. That's when hip hop kind of split into the Jiggy era, the club, shiny suit, and then the backpacker, and you had to like choose a side. So that album right there, that's why I love that album so much, because it just made me like, I bought all my Jiggy music, the Mace albums, Cash Money. I bought it all to the record store, sold it, and started just buying up, but just underground hip hop, man.
Yo, it's so funny, and I just got to do it. And now I feel like I'm getting the right mix of everything to be able to do this show the right way, because there's been so many ups and downs in hip hop. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, Common, we're probably gonna I'll say off air because I know people be biting my shit. So I'm gonna say off air what we're gonna do, and what we're gonna follow. Yeah. But it's time. I think it's time that we get that done, because you make a great point with that split in hip hop. And that Black Star album came out the same day Jay's Hard Knock Life album came out.
Yes.
And to me,
98.
that was the split right there, because at Morgan at that time, everything that came out prior to that album, we all loved. Everybody agreed on everything across the board. Either we loved it or it was whack. That album was the split. That album was when Roots made beats with my people Shy and Bezo. So it was the 3 of them. They was called Nobody Knows. And they were like my OGs. Like when I first got an ASR 10, I'd go over their crib and kind of just sit up under them. And I remember when that shit happened, it was a split between them. I had never seen them fucking disagree in my life, because it was just like, I remember taking Hell on Earth over there. I got it from the radio station before it came out. I took them over there, and all of us just loving it. You know what I mean? So I'm used to these love fest conversations with them, and it was like you said, there was half the people. Roots loved that Hard Knock Life album. He loved the Swiss beat sound. He's like, yo, this is where this is the new wave. Like, I'm moving with it. And like Bezo and Shaw was like, nah, fuck that. That shit is whack. Where are the samples? And you're 100% right that there was a split. There was a split just across the board. I mean, and it was crazy being there to just be like, and I was on Shine'em side. Like, I didn't like Swiss at first. I didn't like these Triton beats and all that shit. You know what I mean? I remember Roots being like, yo, fuck it, I'm selling all my records. I'm like, well, fuck, I'll buy it. Like,
that's crazy.
I'll get them from you.
Bezo's nice too. Bezo's a good dude.
Bezo got, I mean,
guy.
Yeah, you talk about
Bezo. That's Bezo from the show.
You talking about Brian, right?
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, Bezo.
That's my man.
He just drives me fucking crazy. He drives me crazy.
Man.
Hey,
Greg.
Accent? Did he do his British accent all the time for you?
Nah.
When we were teenagers, that's what his thing. He used to do his ill British accent. Yeah.
Hey, Greg, Bezo had me sweating on this show, bro. We were so hot. Just fire hot, man.
Yo, I'll tell you a funny story of Bezo. Me, him, and my man Jace coming back from VA, 3 a.m, coming back from Bink's studio. I was doing some stuff with Bink, and he asked me and Jason, yo, what's your favorite Mobb Deep song? Because we listened to one of my Mobb Deep mixtapes. And I say Shook Ones, and Jay says Shook Ones, and Bezo's like, nah, y'all wrong. It's fucking A Quiet Storm. And I'm like, my nigga, how the fuck I'm gonna be wrong on what's my favorite song? Like, how can I be wrong? Like, what's my favorite song? But to me, that's just a testament to Bezo. Bezo was on here one time, and me and him would argue like cats and dogs. And the crazy part is we were arguing over the Nasir album.
Yep.
We were arguing over the Nasir album. And after arguing for an hour and a fucking half, I'm like, what you give? He's like 3.5. What you give it? 3.5. Fuck was we arguing for? If we could give it the same damn rating. Like, yo, I'm thinking you gonna say something like it's a 5, and I'm a so yeah, but love Bezo to death. But being under them, it was just a situation where it was just like you saw the split. Mm-hmm. You saw it now be coming in. It's funny because you hear years later, my man Ever will be on the show. He'll be like, yeah, I didn't listen to a lot of that Bad Boy shit because I was like, you pick sides. Like I was on Dayline J. Rue's side. And then you have my man Vegas who was like, well, I didn't even listen to As Takes Us High album because I was on Puff's side. Like there was really a division and people really took sides. Like you seldomly found a person who was listening to Stakes Is High in Mace's album.
Yeah.
Like, you really won't find a lot of people who were doing both. And what I mean by listening to is I mean banging. Not that you heard Mace's album and you heard but you love Stakes Is High and you love Mace's album at the same time. It was like literally. But we're gonna talk about all those because there's been so many changes in hip hop. And to me, just another testament as a Queens legend why LL is so great because he's been able to strengthen his way through all of those decades. You know what I mean? Decades. So we're definitely gonna chop it up. The last joint I got is I got two Brand Nubians. They had the peace sign, like they had a joint like this. Oh, I think they didn't really get this to the Foundation album, which was their comeback album. But I thought that was just epic.
That was a good one.
So it was that joint and the Salt and Pepper joint. The Salt and Pepper joint. Like if y'all remember from like the Salt and Pepper 12 inches, they had those Salt and Pepper 12 inches. I thought that logo was dope too. If I'm not mistaken, I think Play was doing a lot of their logos because I know Play had the store for Play because he was like doing the designer thing for a minute like that. So
that's cool.
But because I just remember being a Herbie. I was like the biggest Kid and Play fan like in the fucking world, man. Like my mom's would not let me get my hair dyed. Like I wanted all that shit. Like I wanted how like Kid had the top layer of the box dyed, and I definitely wanted the Kwame part, and she wouldn't let me get none of that shit. But yeah, so those are the last joints I had. Well, did we get your last joint? What you got?
Uptown Records.
Was that a Fox?
It was a cat like leaning on the John. You know what I mean?
Uptown.
Actually, ASAP Ferg's father did that. So
wow,
man, that's crazy.
Yeah, he did that.
They all connected. Wow.
Yeah. So that's another. Just when I think back to these logos that I mentioned, it just brings me back to a time. So I look at the logo and I can go back to a time in my life and a time in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So that logo kind of, brings me back to that. I remember the Uptown Kicking It video.
Vanessa Sinquist.
You know what I'm saying? Vanessa Sinquist. Groove and Chill.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Come on. That's legendary, man. And right. And
about this, man.
Wow.
There it is.
Yeah.
Vanessa Sinquist, man. Yeah.
Soul Sister.
Soul Sister.
I remember that video.
Man, with the MCM. The MCM suits, man, they was killing. That was a time, man. That was a time in fashion, a time in hip hop, man. I just love that, man. And my favorite albums off of is Peaceful Journey and Blue Funk. I can't pick between those two, but I like both of those for two different reasons. But Peaceful Journey and Blue Funk were my favorites. And my honorable mention is KMD's logo. That's
Definitely. Nice one.
Yeah. That was dope. It's funny, bro. You've been on here so much. You answer questions before I even ask. Rel already like my favorite album. Like I already all right, real quick, Vern, favorite album off Uptown?
Gotta be Heavy D. Shoot. I'm gonna go Big Time with not the run after Big Time. Which one is that? We got our own thing. What's the name of the album?
That's Big Time. No. Big Time's the first one. The second one is don't get me lying, nigga.
Let me see.
So Living Laws, Big Time, then Peaceful Journey.
Yeah, Big Time. Big Time.
It was Big Time. Big Time. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So yeah, Big Time.
All right, Mix. What's your favorite album off of Uptown?
Peaceful Journey, especially for Don't Curse.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. Greg, what about you?
Damn, I'm stuck. I just got some real bad news right now, so my head just.
Man, bro, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Let me think. Like, come back to me real quick.
All right, no doubt. Neltron, what you got?
Can it be any? Can it be R&B or hip hop? Oh,
I'll probably go with the God first album or Mary's second album. That's probably my favorite joint song.
Jodeci's first album.
Yeah.
Side A, not side B, just side A.
Fine.
No, that's the greatness of that album. That niggas get that shit 5 mics, and I know people who've never listened to the B side. Like,
Never.
I don't even know what is on the B side. Like,
Not one track.
yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, so that's that. Greg, you got one or you?
Yeah. I'm gonna say My Life.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Good
was
one. Good one.
the first one was ill, but that one, I feel like that one made her like Hall of Fame in my eyes.
No doubt, no doubt. Mix, what's your last joints?
My last one would be Tough City Records with the fifth
Wow.
coming through
That's a
vinyl.
beautiful one.
Wow.
And it made me think of the 45 King, and then that made me think of the 1-900 number and Yo MTV Raps.
Yeah, Ed Lover Dance.
Yep.
All right, I ain't mad at that. Vern, what's your last joints?
Onyx. I'm gonna tell you why.
That was fire.
I want to say this is our second year of college. You know, everybody went away for school, but everybody come home for the holidays. So me, my boys, Chris Conrad, Bread and Water, we put all our money together and we rented out a club. And everybody, yeah, man, hey, we gonna come. Nigga, it was me, Chris Conrad, Jarrell, and Jarrell. Jarrell had the Nation of the Fruits of Islam do the security.
All purpose.
Oh my God.
You know what, I see it every day on the timeline. Yo, Kill, when you drop your book, I'm gonna buy it. Nigga, I can't get that, dog. I got 11,000 followers and only get about 2,000 views. I can't get half to watch the show, but y'all gonna buy something? Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I just remember my boy Conrad just spending Onyx, man. That just got us through, man. But good God, we lost a lot of money.
Goodness.
Damn.
Still laughing, huh?
I gotta laugh to keep from crying, dog. But
Now, Tron, what you got for your last joints?
All right, I got LL Cool J's with the kind of like the cigarettes.
Yep.
And I also got Bad Boys logo with the baby and Loud Records.
Yeah.
With the headphones.
Yeah, you know the funny thing about the Bad Boy logo, I love that shit. But now that I look at it now, I was like, this shit corny as hell. Like this, it looks horribly drawn. Like I'm like, who drew this shit? You know what I mean? But I used to love it at the time. I mean, it was like you saw that logo at a time. If you saw that logo probably like 95, like you knew something was gonna be great.
I forgot Duck Down too. I'm sorry. Duck Down, that logo. Yeah.
I ain't mad at that at all. Greg, what's some of your last joints?
I got two. So one is a throwback, Ruthless Records.
Yeah.
With the musical scale and then the Ruthless written on top. I just thought, that was just ill, and they were a pioneering label. So that had a lot more impact that's not discussed now, but it's felt. And then the next one is Nas's label. I mean Nas's logo.
Yeah.
Like it just bugged out. It looks esoteric to me, like you're gonna conjure a demon or genie out the middle.
Right.
Yeah, nah, man. I mean, the crazy part is that with the way music is distributed now, like we're probably never gonna get back to logos. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's sad because when you really look at things, how you take so much from the culture, whereas like, of course we know the 4 components, but then after a while, like graffiti just became it vanished because of just the laws changing, them making stricter laws, them putting the trains that can't be tagged, putting more security. They got away with that. Dancing got played out, You know what I mean? We shifted from breakdancing to, you know, the TCF crew, Heavy D and the Boys, Scuba and Scrap, everything like that. But by the time 93, which I call the beginning of the 40 and Blunt era of hip hop, dancing is played out now. So all we got is rapping and DJing. And now at this point, by the time 90, I mean, by the time after like Evil D, like I can't really think of too many DJs who were really still scratching and cutting after. Like that's what I loved about that How Many MCs video. Like, cause you got Evil D scratching, he leaning up against the wall, man. All of that. Like after that, then you really didn't have DJs anymore. So by the time 95 got here, by the time the Jiggy era gets here, all you got is rap. You know what I mean? It's like, so you've taken everything away. And now even with the logos, like you taking that away, like, you know, because there's really no point to it no more. I mean, even with me, you know, I'm still old school. So the, you know, of course, the Department 5B logo was like a stamp because I just was like, yo, I want the show to be certified. But it's in my mind, like you can't have something without a logo. Like everything I do is gonna have a logo. That's just the way I'm built almost. Like you just do that. If you start a group, you need a logo. You start a website, you need a logo. You need a logo.
Yep.
You know what I mean? What are you gonna say, Mix?
I have an honorable mention. It would be the Gravediggers, the pick, the axe, and the shovel.
Yeah,
that's hot.
Yeah.
I just like that they, you know, realized hip hop was struggling, so they had to like dig it back up and bring it to another level. And then they have RZA, Prince Paul in the same group with Fruit Crime from Stetson Sonic, the Roots before the Roots. Like, you know, that's a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No doubt. Dope show, y'all. Dope show. So everybody out there, do some knowledge on the logos. Again, if you want to know more about graffiti, start with Style Wars, documentary, Wild Style and B Streets was the movies. That's it right there. My young boy was telling me, Kill OG, always asking me for an album. So what I'm start doing, and if y'all have joints too that y'all want to shout out, like point somebody who may be younger in the direction of to check out the album. I'm gonna start with this week. First Priority's Basement Flavor. This was a compilation album. First Priority was the record label that Milk D's father, Nate Robinson, put together. Of course, this is Audio 2, MC Light, Positive K, The Alliance, all that joint. The big joint off of here was the I'm Not Having That. The Positive K Light joint was on this joint. And also another one of my favorites, Survival of the Fittest, which was MC Light just going the fuck crazy. She barred you for like 78 bars. There's no chorus. There's no nothing.
Yeah, that was ill. That was ill.
Yeah.
Period.
What's the name of that album, Kill?
This is called First Priority Basement Flavor.
Okay.
Yeah, but very dope album, a compilation album. But yeah, because she did this before G-Rap did Men at Work. Men at Work was the first time I heard. Now keep in mind, Greg, G-Rap probably did it and recorded it, but it didn't get released. You know, so but Light was not one of the first female, one of the first MCs, period, to just bar. There's no chorus.
I remember that from Red Alert, DJ Red Alert playing that on the radio. Yeah, a lot of joints off that one. That was crazy.
I mean, Missy Me was on here. It was a female MC out of Toronto, Missy Me.
Toronto.
Yeah. So again, this is a dope album. If Cass want to go back and kind of do some knowledge on, that's it right there. Rel, where can they get at you, good brother?
Uptown J Ben on Instagram, JBen215 on Twitter, and album I would say, because I saw Kill mention this album and I had never really heard it, and I was listening to it today, and I'm doing the knowledge. Ultramagnetic MCs, Critical Beatdown. I'm doing the knowledge now, like, because I didn't get onto them until Papa Large, so I missed. You felt based on when I got into hip hop, like, you know what I'm saying, I kind of missed it. So I'm going back and I'm doing the knowledge right now. So I think that's a good album for people to listen to as well. Yes, if you want to, you know what I mean.
That's probably my second favorite hip hop album ever. And it could go back and forth with It Takes a Nation of Millions. Like Nation of Millions and that can just flip flop almost any day of the week. That album to me was just that's the album that probably was the first seed that was planted about wanting to be a producer.
Oh, and Greg, me and Kill forgot on the Queen show, Super Lover, Casanova Run, Super Lover C.
hell yeah.
We're mentioning Queens, man. We talked about it online, man.
I was so pissed because I've had Rudd on the show.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. He's a good dude.
Girls got him locked.
So like I was about to be like, we got to do the show all over. We got to do the show all over. But I mean, I love seeing Casanova Rudd. And one of the things that we didn't talk about, and it's my fault on that Queens show, was the time that Queens was dead after the bridge is over. You know what I'm saying? That time before the bridge is over, between the bridge is over and Illmatic. You know what I mean? And Soup and Rudd were one of the few groups to come out of Queens at that time and kill it with the James. Like the James is just one of the greatest
song of all time.
I can see that video right now in my head.
Ever.
Yeah, man.
I mean, dude, there's so many stories about, but that album is probably a top 10 favorite hip hop album of mine, which is why I always tell people when they're like, you ain't got Illmatic in your top 10 favorite. Nigga, I'm old.
Yeah, how many records MC
like,
it is?
Records that, and it's like, yo, that's no knock to Illmatic. It is what it is, and I get it. But, and I'm not mad if somebody 50 or 60 has Illmatic in their favorites. It's whatever you want. But the shit that raised me is the stuff that just leaves the imprint in my brain. And like,
that's it.
You know, James, Funky, Ocean Magnetic, get a drum or something. All of those points, you know, just
the samples was ridiculous.
Oh my god!
Between the samples on the Ultra album and the JVC Force album,
God, don't even go.
That's like Sample City.
Don't even go to
yeah, man. Living in who the hell am I?
That was crazy.
Go, Vern. Where can they get at you if they try to buy?
We talk about logos. V the loan closer, baby. I don't know if you can see it. The light.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
It's funny, man.
Love it.
It's funny. Like 4 years ago, my man Sean was like, "Man, you need to be on social media." And so I would start going to closers and tell everybody, "Throw up the V." Everybody know me as V in Atlanta. V the loan closer. You the loan closer. You the closer. So logos are important, y'all. So Instagram at V the Loan Closer, and on Twitter V Channel 10.
And truth be told, especially now with Photoshop, like you know, like you don't even gotta have the dude with the ill hand or whatever like that. Like to me, there's no excuse. And here's another thing, y'all. If you a rapper, especially if you in a group, somebody in that group need to know Photoshop. Like that. This is where we're at now. If it's 2021 and you in a group, somebody better be good on social media. You better stop getting groups just because somebody nice. You better let somebody in your group because them niggas is nice on Twitter or something else or something or whatever. Great Boogie, where can they get at you, man?
You can catch me on Twitter, 43rd Bandit, Scientific Inquirer in the music section. I'm the music editor, Inquirer with an I-N-Q. And I got an album that I love personally, and I know most of y'all probably do, but doesn't get talked about. It's probably my favorite album, hip hop album, Boogie Down Productions, Criminal Minded.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I'm from Queens. This is where this makes sense. I was outside too at that time when that record, when we heard Poetry.
Yeah.
I mean, it was everything else, but when we heard Poetry, it changed our lives completely. Our approach, everything.
What do you think? Because I think Rakim, and there's no knock to Rakim. Rakim gets a lot of love for changing the game, but I feel like KRS did too, and maybe even before Rakim.
KRS had more. I feel like it was a different kind of impact. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he had. What I think with Rakim was very low key, and he had the heavy 5%, right? You know, with him. KRS, he had the 5%, he had the rosters, he had the hardcore, you know, hip hoppers, he had the old school hip hop, like the originators, the pioneers. Like I feel like he was just so well rounded that that might have played against him. As far as because he infiltrated so many different lanes at such an early stage. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is like, and again, you're older. That's why I'm leaning on you because when you brought up Poetry, I remember because like I said, I would spend My whole summer was spent just taping Mr. Magic, Red Alert to take them tapes back to Philly. So when I'm looking at the lyrics to poetry, well, now you're forced to listen to the teacher in a lesson. Classes in session so you can stop guessing. This is 86. And people are still rapping like, when I go around the way, then you want to come play. You know, like you rhyme the end of the last word. This man has already said classes in session so you can stop guessing if this is a tape or written down memos. I'm a professional. This is not a demo. In fact, call it a lecture, a visual picture. Sort of a poetic and rhythm like Mission Listen. Like he was doing things in 86, which to me was prior.
He changed the whole style. And then he brought that heavy Rasta, like reggae element to it. But you know,
if you read, my fault. If you read that, because I'm, you know, I was an English major. If you read that poetry, he uses several different forms of poetry that we learn in school. In that rhyme, the alliteration, the figurative language, all that. He used all of that in that. He ties all that in, which makes that even more amazing.
Right, and again, this is 86. I mean, when it's even for beats with Penny Blake, with beats with plenty bass and lyrics that said in haste, if the meaning doesn't manifest, put it to rest. I'm a poet. You try to show it, blow it. It takes concentration for fresh communication, observation. That is the C without speaking. Take off your coats, take notes. I am teaching a class rather than school because you need schooling.
Wow.
I'm not ruling. Like in
iambic
86.
Iambic pentameter. That's
like
that's amazing.
I think if KRS doesn't get the props for.
Nah, he don't.
I want to give everything that Rakim deserves, but I'm just saying in 86. That's because when you said poetry, Greg, it took me back, and it was just remembering that moment of hearing this and the head blown emoji. Like niggas use that emoji for anything nowadays. No, that really was my head blowing up because it was like, yo, what is this nigga talking about?
Yo, he was ill. Like for me, him and G-Rap were the two best in my. I mean, I might have liked Kane. But when it really boiled down to it, it was G-Rap and KRS. For many years, they were the best. I just think what happened with both of them a little bit was, well, with KRS, like he ran his mouth about other things, and I think that took away from him. You know what I'm saying? Like his skill, like he became bigger than, you know, his personality or his I don't know, just whatever happened in the world of media. They really knocked him out that top MC conversation, and there was nobody but G-Rap really fucking with Chris. Like for a long time, I'd say for like 10 years.
No,
like
even with my philosophy. Even with my philosophy.
Man, come on, man.
Even after that.
You must learn.
He was
Criminal Minded. I think I said this once. That it's probably the album that I played the most. Criminal Minded is easily top 5 favorite. And I was gonna say it easily could go It Takes a Nation, Criminal Minded, or Ultra. Criminal I probably played more than any album ever of any genre, of anything.
Beautiful album. Beautiful record.
Listen to that Over the Bridge Is Over. Super Ho. Oh my gosh.
Super Ho.
Captain Sky. Captain Sky sample.
Yeah, the sperm sample. I mean, Criminal Minded. I mean, just everything mixed.
Elementary.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that's lost when people are rating the all-time greatest MCs, I think they don't put enough emphasis on their performance. Because a lot of these dope MCs can't perform with the lick. They can make great albums, but they can't perform with the lick. That's where KRS-One and Kane and Pharoah Monch and people like that would outrule a lot of the supposed better MCs.
LL
they can actually perform.
He's in that same category.
And the truth is in the performance. What's the point? If you can't carry the studio to the stage, what's the point?
It's crazy. I was just listening to MCs act like they don't know today. And he talked about all that. And shout out to Speech from Arrested Development, man, because he got us on stage with KRS-One at Piedmont Park. And that nigga did Black Cop. Oh my God. I mean, yeah, man. He controlled an audience. He commanded an audience. And then another thing I remember about Chris, he was down in Atlanta. I want to say he was at 89.3, freestyling. and he was killing it. And then he said, and that explains why your rhyming is so weak. You know, I was like, oh my God. He's ill, bro. He don't get his flowers like he should. Kill not to mention him.
Yeah. I mean, I think Chris gets his flowers, but I'm just saying very specifically for helping to change the way MCs rhyme. Like that's just giving the Rakim. It's just giving the Rakim.
True.
And I'm just sitting here like again, the dates mix up to me, but I know Poetry dropped in '86, and nobody else was rhyming.
No, they weren't.
That.
No,
listen. They can only have one at a time. That's the issue. When you let others write the narrative, it's only one at a time.
Right there, brother. I always say that there's only room. It goes back to what Jay said once about Rockefeller breaking up. There's just one presidential suite. All three of us can't stay in the same room, so only one of us can be.
Only one.
And it's always been like that in life. I mean, I was just watching the '96 draft joint. Iverson and Marbury were basically the same player. Two players from the hood, point guards. For people watching, before everybody and their moms had a tattoo, they were two of the first people who had tattoos. You know, Allen had the Hoya Georgetown. I mean, the Georgetown Bulldog. Steph had like a mountain lion or a cat or something on his arm. One of the first, but it was only room for one. And I can remember in Philly, we was going back and forth. Who should we pick? Who should we pick? We got number one pick. I'm like, nigga, Allen. I love Steph to death. Coney Allen all day, but nigga, we taking Allen. But it was only room for one. And it was the same when Big and Jay was alive. Very similar MC, but there was only room for one. And we know who they picked because Big was the one selling $5 million and Jay was going gold. You know what I mean? And then when Big dies, then Jay takes over. So you're right, Greg. It's only been room for one throughout the history of time.
Because we don't control the narrative. See, now platforms like yours and others of the that are in the same vein. Now we're recreating the narrative, and now those are the conversations that need to take place. You know
the scary thing, bro, is you're right, but then we also, because of platforms, not like this, but because everyone has a platform now, they're recreating the narrative in the wrong fucking way.
Yeah,
one gotta go. Pick one, man.
Nah. I don't like that shit.
Changing things now, so I definitely, it's Vern, what you always say, the best thing about the internet is
it gives a voice to the voiceless, and then the worst thing about the internet is it gives a voice to the voiceless. Some of y'all don't need a voice.
Right.
Silence, like Martin.
Yo, bro, it's like, but that was the thing, like, that's why I loved the game before. And when Roots was on last week, and it was just like, when I was interning, they treated me like shit. And not in a bad way, but it was just like I was an intern. Nigga, go get this 7-Eleven.
Earn your stripes.
Don't pick up. And that's what showed you who really wanted to be there now. You give somebody an internship and you tell them to go get the coffee, that nigga may walk off and never come back. Like, nigga,
I was about to say, he's done.
Yeah, but it's just the mentality that makes it goes back to what you were saying about MCs wanting to rock the house. Rocking the house ain't important no more. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember Kane talking about, you to rock the block party, the DJ had to give you a mic. You know what I mean? So it was like, you had to earn those spots. Like nobody wants to. Me and Porsche was talking about this the other day on the timeline about how everybody wants a title now without earning it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's
so where
I'm
just very respectful of titles. So when people come to my house and they see the pictures I've taken today, they're like, "Oh, you're a great photographer." And I'm like, "Just slow down. I take nice pictures. Like I'm not a photographer because I know photographers and I know I don't know the science they do. You know what I mean? So, but what happens now is you take a picture and you're like, I'm a photographer. I made a playlist. I'm a DJ. Like just everybody don't need a title.
Relax.
We've gone away from things being earned. My man Shadi Lukman, who used to work with Roots and Bezo, Greg, was talking about he has two other brothers, and he said, "Kill, I had to be the nicest MC in my house before I come outside on my block and say I'm a Then I had to be the nicest MC in my neighborhood before I could leave my neighborhood and venture out to other neighborhoods and boroughs and say, that doesn't happen anymore. No. If I kick around the Vern right now and he says, yo, Kill, I like that. I'm now an MC. Like, and I'm like, no, you're not. Like,
no process.
That's literally the equivalent
no vetting process.
Passing one test, being like, I'm a lawyer. Like, no, you started the process of becoming a lawyer. Now, it depends on the work that you put in, if that will make you a successful and you'll be able to become a lawyer. But Now, I mean, dog, when I see on Instagram, it's like, oh, cred to my 5-year-old daughter. I'm like, does your daughter really need photo cred? Like, are we that far going in that you're getting a child photo cred? Or I've had people who have taken pictures of me, DM me like, yo, you didn't give me credit on the picture. And I'm like, yo, you really, it's Instagram. Like, why do you really, again, it's just where we're at now.
Yeah. Now, to your point, I mess around on the drums. My drummer is my uncle is the illest drummer I've ever seen. You know, personally, Billy Cobham, nigga. I'm not a drummer. I play around on the drums. There's a
Warning album.
There's a difference. Yeah.
Right. Nah, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. Now, Tron, where can I get at you, good brother?
First off, Greg, it was nice to meet you, good brother.
Yes, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
I know you got stories for days, man. You was
I do.
That's like I'm still trying to knowledge, right? But you can catch me on Twitter and IG at Neltron8000.
All right, no doubt. Mix, where can I get at you, good brother?
All right, on Instagram, you could get at me at Mix Mess, and then on Twitter, it's Messiah Mix. And then I just want to say one last thing. I know a lot of people respect and love the Essence Music Fest, and I've gone like pretty much almost all the years in its existence. And to me, the best lyrical performance I've seen at Essence was L.A. Sunshine from the Treacherous 3.
Oh wow!
He was rhyming over like original break beats being cut up by Easy Lee, like at the end of a Kumo D session. Like Kumo had done his thing and everybody kind of cleared out and there was a few people still left. And this dude was like freestyling like nobody's business. He was just going from break beat to break beat to break beat. He must have rhymed probably like close to 15 minutes straight. And you're talking about somebody that's probably like close to 60.
Dope. That's dope. That's dope. That's dope.
I love that. I love to hear shit like that.
That's dope. And you already know this with me, Kill889 on Twitter, IG, we'll make beats for food.com. Never forget, Apartment 5B is sponsored by What's the Scenario game. This game is hilarious. You will argue, you will fight, but at the end of the day, you might have a good time.
Cop that.
We've got episodes of us doing this, playing the game. It's hilarious. So definitely check it out. You can cop it at sowhatgames.com. Use the promo code Apartment 5B. You will get free shipping. And again, I don't care about money. I'm blessed right now that I don't need the money like that. I mean, I'm like Clay Davis. I'll take any motherfucking money who's giving it. But I'm just saying that if I co-sign something, I don't want people to be like, Kill just saying it's dope because they paying them. Like, nah, it's a dope game. We played it. It's definitely gonna start some conversation.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna start some arguments. So
yeah,
if you just good enough to start an argument. So I'll tell you that right now. So definitely check that out. I'll check y'all next week, y'all.
Definitely.